Have a Good Fucking Day podcast, episode 6.
Yeah.
We're here. Michelle, I want to say de Swarte now, but Michelle de Swarte. Well, go on, babes.
Well, go on.
How are you?
I'm good, you know.
Yeah?
I'm good. All the better for being here. I was not saying I feel like I know you because I've been following you on Instagram.
It has felt like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And a little back and forth. Like, you remind me a little bit of my big sister as well.
Is it?
Which is vibes. Yeah. Just because she's hilarious and she likes running her mouth. So it's like.
But I've never been accused of running my mouth. I am a humble, quiet person. If you say that again, I'll bang you. No, joking.
When I start the podcast, yeah, I've got a list of questions that I like to reel off that I want to do for every guest. So I'm just going to fire some questions at you. And we'll take it from there. So, question 1 is, who are you?
I mean, in the philosophical sense, or like how am I, like who am I as a human? Like what are my personality traits?
I like leaving it open to interpretation because people answer it in their own way.
Okay, yeah. Well, I would say since we're here in 2024 doing a podcast in the Western world, I'd say my name is Michelle. Mm-hmm. I am a mixed race black woman. Mm-hmm. I am a stand-up comedian. I'm a writer and a producer and an actor. And I'm Jewish. Mm-hmm. And I'm 43.
Vibes.
Yeah.
Vibes. Okay, question 2. What is the emotion you experience most often when you first wake up in the morning?
Contemplation. Yeah. Contemplation about, like, I guess just trying to, like, recalibrate myself, if anything. I try to, like, wake up in a... Yeah, come on.
Very unprofessional, James.
I try to wake up with a sense of gratitude. But sometimes the day will start before I get to do any of that, and I get sort of taken away by, you know, whatever's going on.
Okay.
You know, like a little follow on from the next day, from the day before.
Yeah.
You know?
Okay. I find sometimes in the morning that I have to, if I stay in bed for too long and think for too long, I can start to spiral.
Yes.
So I need to get out of bed.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm a believer in making your bed.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
100%.
That's like years of smoking weed.
Yeah.
And now I don't. Well, unless you got some. But but
it's very interesting actually, because I'll tell you about the company I work for in a second.
But I used to have to pull myself out of bed. And I used to have a bit of an issue with like lateness and stuff like that, just like procrastinating. Yeah, so now I like to get up.
I hear that.
And then once I'm up, I make the bed as soon as I get out, because then that episode, that chapter is done.
Yeah.
No more getting back into bed, no more sitting on bed, nothing of that. Sleep is done, get up, and now start your day.
It's the first win of the day as well, isn't it?
Yeah. But it's interesting, like such a small little thing like that has helped me massively.
Yeah. I hear it. I hear a lot of people talking about the making the bed thing. And I used to be like one of the people that would be like, I'm going to get back into it anyway. Like,
exactly.
Why am I making it?
But let me tell you how this was me getting into bed. You see all the clean laundry that was on the bed? I just pulled that over me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Straight.
Yeah, that's it.
What, on top of you?
Yeah. Because I'd have all the clean laundry would be on the bed, and it would just kind of live there permanently, really. And it would just sort of rotate. You know, the stuff on the beds would end up on the floor, then it was dirty, and then the stuff that was on the floor then would then back up at the bed.
Laundry never ends, innit? So it's like, that's how it goes, innit? That's the rotate.
Yeah. So now the fact that like there's nothing on the bed, I say this as someone who's in the middle of moving. I've got movers coming tomorrow. So if you ever saw my yard right now, you would go, you are a massive fucking liar. How dare you run your mouth off about, I like to make my bed and I like to have a serene space, because the house looks like someone burgled me right now. But, yeah.
Moving's tough, man.
It is.
Moving's tough. One of the times I moved, I had a van and I put all my shit in the back. 2 interesting things. One of the interesting things, I had clothes in the garden still drying when the new people started moving in.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I also, one of the things I put in the back of the van was just a fruit bowl with fruit in it.
Because sometimes you can't, innit? I suppose you just didn't like put some gaffer tape over the top of it to secure it. Yeah.
Yeah, that was a wild one, man. Too funny. The other thing I wanted to say, when you just mentioned about smoking weed, right? I know you said you don't, but if I've got some, I don't have any. However,
Oh, hello.
hello. Hello.
I'm going to back your audio off just a tad.
Okay. Oh, you can monitor it from in there. Lovely.
No, I'm listening. I'm just hoping.
Oh, it's our cackles, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a big laughs.
Yeah, I've got a definitely an outside voice as well.
Can you do a fake laugh for me? I know that sounds mad.
This is my favourite part of the podcast so far. He's had to come in and turn the volume down because he laughed too much. I love that.
I'd rather do it now though, and then
Oh, I know,
It's all good, bro.
Not to be, but I'm always concerned about these things. Are you close enough to your mic because you said the whole thing with the hands, and I'm like,
that's the tiny bit.
Bit closer.
Yeah, you'll be okay.
so sorry, James.
Oh, good. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Do you know
I
what I mean?
appreciate it.
I'm not coming back.
Yes. So about the weed things, I started working for a company called Cantourage, and it's a medicinal cannabis company.
Yeah, I honestly, I'm in a lot of pain right now. I have many ailments, achy hands, leg.
Oh,
hand-
actually.
no.
Oh. There. But so yeah, they're based in Dalston, and if you have like a couple of diagnoses or whatever, you can come and have a consultation with a doctor, get your medicinal cannabis card, and you get the littest of the lit.
Is it?
Yeah, you can fly with it.
Is
You
it?
can travel with it.
But
it's wild.
okay, I'll take your word
I
for
can
that.
get you a consultation.
Do you know what I could do if I wanted to get weed? Just call my guy.
Hear
Sit
it.
down for
But is
consultation.
it medicinal grade though? This is the thing.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I used to live in LA, right? And out there, obviously, it's legal. And even to now, where people will be like, "Oh, is that sativa or is it indica?" I'm like, "Brother, it's weed, man. It's fucking weed.
I hear you.
What do you want? You know what I mean? What are you doing this for? Well, you want to get creative, or do you just want to get blazed? It's weed."
I hear you, but I am interested in it because, like, obviously, I've worked there for a few months now, and like, I used to smoke a lot in it, but I stopped because I smoked so much. Started getting paranoid.
Oh,
and I
yeah.
was in my house on my own, and I was like, "This
Yeah.
ain't fun no more." So I fucked it off. But I was explaining this to the boys, and they were like, "I hear you, but like the smoking, like the combustion, is different to vaping, which is like a steaming process or whatever." And they went into like the whole scientific explanation of
It's a
how it
vaping
works.
process.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the one. But apparently, like, the way it affects you is completely different, and then you can like impact how much it gives you anxiety or how much it makes you paranoid or whatever, blah blah blah. And I just found all of that super interesting. I don't think I'm going to be diving into vaping weed anytime soon, but I might try it.
But you know what? It is interesting, and also there's like a lot of studies that show that a lot of like those kind of that sort of when it can induce paranoia and stuff. There's many links to the fact that you're putting tobacco in there as well. Like, have they done these studies on people that are schizophrenic? And it's like 85% of those people are addicted to nicotine.
Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah. But have you smoked the spliff without a cigarette?
Of course.
It's not the same.
No.
It's not the same. You want it, to
doesn't
like
hit
punch
the
you in the
same,
throat?
bro. Yeah, I want to feel that, bro. I want to feel like I'm doing something.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you vaped?
I have.
Yeah. How is it?
It is. I mean, I've done it all, really. I've eaten it. I've drank it. I've swam in it. Do you know what I mean? I've done mints and lozenges and all of that stuff. Yeah, it's all right. Which kind of leads me to believe that I am a definite nicotine addict, because I can enjoy being stoned, but really what I'm craving is the concoction of weed and nicotine together.
Okay. So do you
Like-
smoke? Just smoke.
No, well, I've got a Nicorette lozenge in at the moment. I'm always kind of having a little battle. I did a gig last night, and one of the acts there had a vape, and I was like, Can I have a puff of your vape? Like a tramp. Like a fucking tramp.
What's the etiquette with vapes? Because, like, you can ask for a twos of a snout, innit?
Yeah.
But obviously you got to give the vape back. So
I'll be honest with you. The etiquette is with vape, I think, don't be a tramp. But I couldn't. Do you know what I mean? Don't be a fucking tramp.
but I do see people sharing them all the time.
Yeah, but it's disgusting. If I was vaping, which I've vaped on and off for years, and someone's like, "Can I have a puff?" I think, oh man, you fucking tramp. Go and get your own.
Why are you ruining
Do
my
you know what I
vape
mean? Like, you know, like when you was a kid and someone would say, "Can I have a crisp?" and you're coughing your crisp. But anyway, she gave me a Lost Mary or whatever, and I just didn't want to give it back, man.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, she was heading out the door. I said, can I have one? I said, can I have one more lick on the bot?
On the bot, yeah.
Like it's a bottle. Yeah, so
That's quality.
I wonder if some of that is, for me personally, where I've tried all different types of weed. I don't mind the edible though.
See, I've never done edibles, man.
Well,
is
be
that
careful.
like spaceship vibes, isn't it?
Not now, because I think with, weeds now being for use medically and legal in a lot of places, or at least decriminalised, you can be really specific about what kind of high that you want. And so I think there was a time with edibles where, like, if you took, or someone made some pop brownies or whatever, you take it and think, I've done too much. And then you think, fuck.
Yeah.
That's
There's
you done.
no turning back.
6 hours. Get some cold peas, put them on the back of your neck, and put 1 foot on the ground and open up the window, because it's gonna be a long ride. Do you know what I mean? But now, I mean, there's all different types of like edibles that you can take.
Yeah.
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 So I mean, if you're in
I'm
partners with this,
interested. I'm
you should ask
interested.
them. Ask them
Yeah.
about edibles, because
I
you
am
can have a really
interested.
nice day without any, probably akin to microdosing mushrooms.
Yeah. Yeah. Because I mean, the only fear that I have around like cannabis is obviously cannabis around weed.
Marijuana.
Do you know what I mean?
All right, mate.
Who are you? Feds, like. Yeah, it's just the paranoia that I had before, man.
Yeah.
Like, but again, I might be ready to dip back in. I don't know.
I feel you though. Like I just had like a little run of puffing because I was filming a show, and then I finished filming, and it was like so intense that I thought I was finding it so hard to unwind that I was like, oh, someone gave me some weed. I was like, I have a little puff. And as someone who hasn't smoked weed like that for years, but I used to from about the age of 13 until about 35, it's interesting how quickly I got back on the train with it. Like, from just taking the odd puff and being like, whoa, man, I'm like really stoned, bro, to waking up in the morning, making a coffee and being like, wait.
I don't know if I'm going out today, you know.
Wait. Yeah, sitting there, but it does.
Box set's looking good still.
You know what I'm saying? But it does weird things to your brain, because you'll just be like, you start to get that paranoia starts creeping in, and you'll start thinking like, oh, I don't even want to go out, man. It's cold. And actually, no one even checks me, man. And actually, I'm a bit lonely and no one checks me. And then your phone rings and you think, no, ignore it.
I know what you're saying.
You're literally sitting there,
Yeah.
painting ideas in your head about conversations that haven't happened, screwing with people about some responsibility or like just involvement and empathy that they should have in you as a person. Because I did this one thing for this person and they didn't check me, and you know what? Actually, fuck them. And then they call and you think, yeah, no, not right now. Let me just finish watching.
I didn't mean right now.
I mean in theory.
Yeah.
I mean, when
At a
I'm
more convenient time. Quality. Too good. And going back to the smoking thing as well, like when I drink, I smoke in it. So
cigarettes.
Like,
yeah. Chain smoking.
It depends what time of the evening it is.
Oh yeah.
Once we pass midnight. Yeah.
Boy, what are you doing with them drinks then?
Yeah.
All right, go on. But you're not drinking normally. You're not smoking. Like you're not like a morning. Are you somebody who smokes every day?
Not right now, but I'm one of those people that can kind of stop, innit? Like I'm not drinking at the moment, innit? So
okay.
I'm not smoking at the moment.
Okay.
So, and I kind of do that every year.
Yeah.
So it's like I can jump in and out of it. But I'm also the type of person like my birthday's in November, so like November and December are usually quite fucking
spicy.
Yeah, and we're just kind of rolling with it. Do you know what I'm saying? That's when things can start getting a bit hectic.
Yeah.
But I don't know where I was going with that, but yeah, I'm not smoking at the moment, and I do want to stop, but then it's like if I go on holiday and like, bruv, like, can I have 20 snap, bruv?
Do you know what's mad? I'd stop smoking, stop vaping. I've been hypnotized loads of times about.
Really?
Yeah. Anyway, so I'm on a good kick now. I haven't smoked, I haven't vaped. I'm like, my body's a temple. I go and visit my friend in Dubai, Meg. She's a DJ, Megatronic, and she's living in Dubai at the time, and I go and visit her. This is like last year, and I haven't been to Dubai before, and we're sitting in this restaurant, And she's like, "Oh, can I get an ashtray, please?" And I said,
Oh yeah,
"What?"
that's a game
And she
changer.
said, "Yeah, you can smoke inside in Dubai." I said, "Is it?" I
This
said,
was
"What
last
in
year.
the 1990s is this?" Yeah. So,
Excuse me. Sorry.
oh, thanks, that's considerate.
I had salmon in it. I don't want to be too disrespectful.
So I said, "What in the fucking 1990s is this?" I said, "You can smoke inside." She's like, "Yeah, it's Dubai, innit?" And I was like, "Bro."
What, like just snap, like you can
Yeah,
just
I said, "Give me a cigarette then." She went, "Michelle, you went." I said, "Yeah, I know, but..."
salt.
I said, "I know, but..."
Look at the
Smoke
settings.
inside. I said, "What a treat." And
Yeah.
then that holiday, I remember I smoked a couple cigarettes with her over dinner. And I hadn't smoked for months. And then she dropped me back off at my hotel, I got out of the car and I was like, "Hey, Dad," like Columbo. I said, "Oh, one more thing. Can I have a couple of cigarettes? Just, do you know what I mean?" And she went, "Yeah, you're gonna..." I said, No, I'll just take a couple." The next day, in the morning, I'm sitting on the balcony, I'm having 3 cigarettes with my morning coffee, and I was back,
You
baby.
see that, yeah?
Back.
Coffee and a snack in the morning.
Yeah.
That's when I get into that territory, I know, all right, cool.
Yeah.
You need to relax because
That's mum vibes, innit?
I love that shit. I'm telling you, bro. Especially if I wake up first and I'm on my own and I'm like, yo,
Yeah.
put
Have
on
a little thing.
incense, put on a little tune, make my
Yeah.
coffee, cafetiere. You know what I'm saying? A little ritual.
Right.
Especially when it's not cold. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? By the
Start
wind
thinking about
opening
yourself
window.
like you're a writer. Like, yeah. What am I going to write
Feeling
today?
inspired.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Start like crossing my legs and that.
Hey. Oh, do you know what I like? Jazz, baby. Jazz.
And writing shit in a notebook.
Innit? Licking the ends of the pen. Words. Me. Clever. Smart.
Oh,
funny.
my days.
Intellectual. Wait, how do you spell intellectual?
Doesn't matter, baby. It's an interpretation. Oh my days. Okay. If you could teleport any place right now, where would it be? And would you take anyone? And if so, who?
If I could teleport anywhere, you know what? I would just be here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd be right here.
Rate that.
Yeah, man.
In
There's
the present.
nowhere. Yeah, there's nowhere I actually want to be. I mean, there's countries I want to go to. You know what I mean? Like I've had this.
You mean
Like-
London or at this
just-
on this sofa?
right here.
My jigger.
Yeah,
Come
man.
on.
Right here, I'm doing everything that I want to do. So
that's beautiful.
that's where I would be. It doesn't mean I'm absolutely, no offense to you, it doesn't mean I'm just had a particularly stressful week. It doesn't mean I'm ecstatically happy, or the happiest I could possibly be. But I'm content with being right here, chatting to you right now. After this, I'm going to go do my gig. I don't know how it'll go. I hope it goes well. And then I'm going to go home and pack up my shit. And I wouldn't change that.
Bang, bang.
Yeah.
Nice. I like that answer. I haven't had that one yet. What was the last thing you ate?
Boy, I ate a kosher hot dog
Okay.
this morning.
Yeah. What, breakfast?
Literally.
What, was it at home or did you go out for it?
No, I ordered it in
Oh,
because
you-
I was like,
Deliveroo, yeah?
oh,
What
man.
time was that?
Probably at like midday.
Okay.
Yeah.
Excellent.
I ordered, because I'm moving out of the area that I live in. And it's quite a Jewish area. So there's certain things that in North London, you're not going to get in South London, which is where I'm moving back to. So I was
Are you
like,
moving back south, yeah?
Yeah, so I was
Okay.
like, let me get this kosher hot dog and a side salad. And I ordered like a fancy yogurt. I didn't touch that. Put that in the fridge. I said, that's the fridge of intentions. That's not getting touched.
Fair. And what, do you have like ketchup, mustard, onions, like that type of
It just
vibe, or-
comes with all the bits.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I think it
do
had
like
like
a good hot dog, yeah.
gherkins, mustard, some like, some
Yeah.
other suspect thing in there. And yeah,
I
it's
do,
good.
I do like a hot dog every now and again, I'm not going to lie. This is an interesting question. I'm just going to go straight into it. When you're in the shower, do you wash your legs and your feet and in between your toes?
Bruv, who don't? And come on.
Bro,
Come on.
bro,
Bruv, as
you
if
will
I'm going to
be
get in the
surprised.
shower and what am I, what, other than just have a bird, but what, drink a glass of water then?
I love how
Have
much
a
this
glass
has
of
triggered
water.
you.
Have a glass of water then. What are you doing? Do you know what I mean? Just wash your hands. Don't wash nothing then. How are you, what are we doing?
Thank you.
What? And then you're getting out and creaming the dirty cream from the day
Brother.
before, and you're re-creaming and then you're using what towel to dry yourself,
to
and
clean
then
yourself.
doing what?
Half clean yourself.
To exfoliate yourself with the water and the cream, and then doing what with the towel, just hanging it up. Fuck off.
And I'll tell you what inspired this question, yeah? Like ages ago, I can't remember, I see something online.
Yeah, there was a big chat about it, but probably about 4 years ago.
Yeah.
Who washes their legs?
Right.
Yeah.
And I must have done a post about it and it kind of went off. And there were so many people being honest in the comments. It was like the water runs down there though, doesn't it? I'm like, big man, what, you just getting wet? Like, I was like, it's not really how washing works.
Also, what are we washing then? What, you're just letting all your pom-pom juice just sit on your on your fucking toe creases? Is that what you're doing? And calling it a day? You fucking
Bro, there
tramp.
was so many people, bro.
Yeah.
And to this day, I get DMs of people saying, you're the reason I wash my feet.
Good. You
I
just
feel
give
like
them a
I'm doing
little
my
thumbs
bit.
up. Yeah.
Keep up the good
Keep
work.
up the good work, mate. Yeah.
Exactly that. What was the last thing you did for you?
The last thing I did probably this morning, because I got in the bath and washed my fucking legs, yeah, right, and then and the rest of my body got out and moisturised and flossed, and these are all little things that I think I would
Bath
say
or shower? Are you as a person?
I'm a big bath person.
Yeah.
I'm a big bath person. I have a bath probably minimum 5 times a week.
Really?
Yeah. A bath at night when I come in. 'Cause
Yeah.
also
Candles,
just to
like the whole nine.
Yeah, I listen to a podcast and put loads of like magnesium salts in the bath, and just to sort of decompress as well, especially if I'm been gigging, because I'm like wound up and it's late, and just to sort of chill out. And to be honest, sometimes I can't be fucked to wash my face over a sink. Do you know what I mean? I just think I'd just rather just get in the bath and like relax. You know what I mean? And then in the morning I have a shower, and in the night I have a bath.
Okay, fair. I convinced myself like once or twice a year to have I fancy a bath.
Yeah, men don't really like baths.
Nah.
I think it's because they don't like the heat the way we like the heat.
Bruv.
Like a man will get in, you can't.
I just immediately start sweating.
Yeah, our bath, molten lava.
long.
A woman's bath is molten lava.
It's either too hot or too cold. I never find the middle ground.
Yeah.
And I'm in there for about 2 seconds or 2 minutes, and then I say to myself, "This is why you don't have baths, bro.
Yeah.
I just don't fucking like it."
Yeah,
And then
fair.
I get water out and turn the shower on.
Yeah. I feel like that's a lot of men are not really into baths.
Yeah. I think you lot do like it hot still. Okay, and what was the last kind thing you said to yourself?
Probably this morning, because I was like
I'm
teetering.
loving this for you.
Yeah, teetering on the edge of a bit of a panic attack,
Okay.
man. Not like, I mean, I haven't had a panic attack for a long time, but I know when I'm like not thinking clearly because I've got too many things going on.
Yeah.
So I had a little word with myself, like, you're doing everything you want to do. Get the sand out your fanny and like stop spiraling.
I was watching some of your content earlier, yeah, and I saw you say that exact line, yeah, and I was like, I actually made a note of it. I was like, this line's incredible. This is your line, right?
No. You know what? I heard that in.
Get the sand out of your fanny.
I heard
That's
it
incredible.
in South Park, maybe like 20 years ago. There was a whole episode where I think Cartman just kept on going to Kyle, have you got sand in your vagina? And he was like, I don't have sand in my. And he was like, you should probably get that sand out of your vagina. Why don't you get that sand out of your vagina?
It's so good.
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah.
Yeah, quality. You touched on something there.
I was saying panic attack spiraling.
Yeah. So in terms of like, if you don't mind, like, because I find this stuff interesting. I don't think I've ever had a panic attack before. But did you used to have them often, or?
Yeah. Do you know what? It was weirdly, it was post therapy when I started unearthing stuff, and I realised I was ill-equipped really to deal with it. I was like emotionally arrested. Do you know what I mean? I kind of.
What do you mean by emotionally
as in
arrested?
like, there was a point where I just started disconnecting from how I felt. I think as a coping mechanism when I was younger, and then it wasn't serving me as I was older, and I was trying to sort that out, but I didn't really have the tools to properly deal with it, and I would just get overwhelmed. Do you know what I mean? Plus I was like boshing the sniff, smoking weed. Do you know what I mean? Doing all these things that were helping me short term, but long term were, not doing me any favours.
I hear that.
Yeah.
I hear that. And how old are you roughly?
When I started having panic attacks, probably around my mid-30s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The packet thing is like, it's like, I don't know, man. Like, there's something about it that can be like mad fun, but then like the downside can be pretty treacherous. Do you know what I'm saying?
Do you know what I think of it? And just drugs in general. It's like skiing. without a ski lift. So it's like you can whiz down that mountain and it is fun.
I like that.
But you're gonna have to. There's no ski lift to get you back up.
And you have to go back
You
up,
got to do that by foot. So
yeah.
mind how far down you ski down that slope,
And to get back up takes long, and to get down's quick.
fam.
I love that analogy.
Fam.
That's spot on, you know.
Yeah, and so sometimes you'll find yourself in this little loop. Like if you give yourself enough time, you can walk up the slope, have some fun, chat. You can even have fun walking up the slope.
Yeah.
But you can get yourself in a loop where you're not even getting to the top of the slope to slide down. You're just going like that. Do you know what I mean? You're using that last couple of meters to like walk up it and go, fuck it, I'll just slide down from here. I'll just slide down from here. I'll slide down. And then
it
it's
gets
like,
less and less fun.
bro, you're just sitting at the bottom with skis
Shit.
on, chatting to your mates.
Yeah. Skis all bruck up.
Innit?
There's no point in going up there no more.
Right?
I ain't got no skis.
Right? Exactly. I sold the skis, fam. I sold the skis. How you getting down the slope?
I'm just sitting
going
in
on
the
my batty,
snow,
bruv. Yeah.
literally.
You know, actually, this cardboard box is just like skis anyway. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a bit like a house too.
I quite like sitting in snow, actually. Yeah.
That's quality. I hear that still. I love that. That's a great analogy. I'm going to use that. I want to know more about New York and your modeling and what that was like. And how long did you live there for? Like, best experience, worst experience?
I moved there in 2000 and I left in 2016 to go to LA. I was in LA for a few years and then I went back to New York. And then 2019, I moved back to the UK.
Okay.
And initially when I went there to model, and I can't say I was like really excited. I didn't love modeling. I found it quite, it was sort of quite a pushback on my personality. Because now I do stand up and it's like I talk for a living, and that's a job where you're, especially at the time, it's before social media and using your personality or your followers as a platform to sell stuff. And your job then was to be mute. You know, like, remember when you first heard Kate Moss talk?
No.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? So it's like, so yeah, at the time, I mean, it was fun in many ways and it was a challenge in many ways, but I was fortunate to be able to do it because I'm not sure what I would have been doing had I have stayed.
Yeah, I hear it.
You know, I mean, it gave me, more than anything, what moving to New York at that age did is gave me 20.
20, sick.
It gave me an opportunity to be able to reinvent myself personality-wise a little bit without people from where I grew up.
Yeah.
From being like, oh, you changed because like, you know, we want to change, right? Yeah. And so it allowed me to do that and also experience a world of art that I'm not sure if I would have been introduced to had I stayed here at the time.
Yeah.
So I got to, you know, meet like loads of artists and people from different backgrounds, and, you know, that side of things was really good.
It must have been eye-opening as well, wasn't it? Like, obviously, like, just leaving where you've grown up, kind of obviously starting again, like new friendship circles and being in environments and places that are new or foreign, and it completely like broadens your perspective, I imagine.
Yeah, it does. And I think at that age, you're kind of fronting anyway, regardless of where you are. So it was, you know, I was able to front my way, but for being in really different situations where I'm like, oh my gosh, like, you know, I'm at some crazy underground party in New York where there's like loads of drag queens and, you know what I mean, crazy artists, and, you know, Boy George is rolling about in some crazy hat with like paint dripped on his face, and I'm like, this is mad, you know. And then also because I was a model in New York, you're the kind of at the sort of top of the pyramid of nightclub culture, so they let you in and you're sitting in VIP and you're drinking for free.
So you're
and
not just experiencing New York, you're
not
experiencing
lining
that
up,
New York.
right?
Yeah,
Yes, exactly. Yeah, so I'd gone from, you know, being in Brixton and like, you know, working in a pub and living.
Was that the shift, like literally working in a pub to getting on a plane and being a model in New York?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it was wild. Yeah.
That's crazy. That must have been lit though.
It was. It was.
Give me a couple highlights then. Give me a couple like crazy highlights of, you know, New York what are you saying, early 2000s?
Early 2000s.
You're in your early 20s.
Early 20s.
Wild outside.
Yeah. Dickhead anyway. And then put everything else on top of that.
Yeah.
And then put modelling and money and
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
A recipe for vibes and disaster.
Yeah. And like, you know, back then, what, you think you're nice? Yes, sir. Yes.
I know I am, actually. I'm getting paid to be nice.
Yes. And just like, I think as well, to like be hanging out with other girls that were like, you're hanging out with bunches of models. It's not like, it's not debatable. Everyone's getting paid for how they look.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? You're hanging
it's
out
not
with.
A question, bro.
Nah, like, and you got your own money. So it's not even like, oh, I'm hanging out here to hang out with these rich guys to see if I can. You're hanging out with a crew of fit girls.
And you've all got bread.
And you all got bread. And you've all got drugs. Oh, it's disgusting. Listen, it's amazing I'm here to still tell the tale, to be honest. But yeah, just like a lot of fun times, but also a lot of. It gave me the opportunity. Well, it also gave me a fair amount of agency as well. You know, like you get invited to crazy things like, you know, Puff Daddy would be like, oh, come to the white party in the Hamptons. We'll get you a helicopter. And he'd be like, no. Do you know what I mean? No, I'm staying here and hanging out with my friends. We're going to watch South Park and play blackjack and smoke weed.
Straight.
Yeah, I'm not coming to the Hamptons. For what? To get pimped out? Fuck off.
Rate that though, like to even have that, at that age, to have that foresight and understanding.
But it's not even a foresight and understanding. It's because you've got the money to say, I can make that choice. Because if I was in a different situation, that might have been an amazing opportunity. That's no shade on anyone else who does anything else with the opportunities or what they feel like they can do. Do you know what I mean?
But I mean, potentially, I'm not saying in that particular situation, but potentially in a situation like that, there could be like danger attached to it or risk or whatever. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yes, there is danger. If you're a young person and you know you don't understand the currency of youth, with especially older people, especially if they got money, you might be thinking it's because they want to chat to you. No, it is not. Do you know what I mean?
It's not about your vibrant
Nah,
personality.
mate. Nah, man. These lot's trying to do anal, bruv. You better stay at home. Yeah.
I hear it. I mean, shit. There's a lot of stuff that seem to be coming more and more into the light recently as well, regarding Hollywood and Diddy and all that shit. Do you know anything about any of that, actually?
No, but you know what? Back in the day,
stories, rumors.
well, like I'm like, yeah. Do you know what I mean? And I remember going for some of I cast. You know, when you're in your early days of modeling, you're casting, you know, you go into a place and then someone's deciding whether they want to book you or not. And that's when Puffy or Diddy, whatever anyway, he was just had his clothing brand called Sean John, and it was quite a big deal that someone in the rap industry was doing big fashion shows at New York Fashion Week.
Okay.
And so there was this kind of, around then it was like you had video vixens and then you had models, and like every now and again you'd see a model in a hip hop video, but not often. Do you know what I mean? And so he would do these big castings, and I remember them being like really weird castings.
Really?
Do you know what I mean? Yeah, you'd go and he would like be lined up sort of Britain's Got Talent style, you know, like he would be in the middle of this long table with like all of these other guys. And it felt, I mean, you were objectified in modelling anyway, but this felt particularly like sexualised objectification, you know, getting you to walk up and down, and which you'd have to do anyway, but there was an air to it that felt different. Now, let it be known, there's enough fucking weirdos in the industry anyway, but he stands out in my mind of like the few times that I'd done castings for him and being like, yeah, I'm all right if I don't get this job. Yeah. Which is fortunate because I never did anyway. you know, and you're like, well, I wouldn't want to work with him. It's like, bitch, you weren't getting booked by him. So relax, take off flat batty and keep it moving. I was not trying to book you anyway.
That's too good, man. I love your bit on the Epstein thing, and I saw you posted something about that getting taken down.
Yeah, it did originally.
What, did they just remove it? Like you just woke up and it was gone, or?
Yeah. I mean, it's happened. Like the first time I spoke about it, it was just a post. It was just a post, man. Because for me to be able to make that a bit and then make it funny and then be able to do it live at the Apollo was not like, I'm just going to write a joke and there it is delivered. Like, it probably took me maybe a year to finesse it, like to make it funny. And I had a lot of duds like leading up, like where it just wasn't, it was flat and people were, you could feel the audience just like, oh my God, like this is harrowing. I don't know if I should laugh or not. So when it kind of first came to light, and I saw the press and I was like, rah, that's the guy whose house, rah, this guy was like affiliated with my agency, my modeling agency at the time, as I talk about in the set.
Affiliated how?
Look, these are things that I didn't really know at the time, but they just had close relationships. So there'd be a lot of like, the owner of my agency is called Jean-Luc, who also killed himself in prison, allegedly.
Okay.
In the same sort of time frame to do with the case.
Similar circumstances and
he was brought in for questioning and
Slow
da.
down.
Yeah, because they, essentially they were using that agency as a way to use models like myself to legitimize the agency so they could go.
Terrifying, bro.
Yeah, but when you're in it now, I can look and see the danger that was in. But at the time, I was sort of like, this is weird, and that was that. But initially, when I first spoke about it, it was just a post of me going, actually, I was with this agency, Karen's, and there was a lot of weird stuff going on at the time. And I remember bringing it up, and I ended up leaving that agency maybe within 2 years of turning up to New York. And I made a few complaints about Jean-Luc and other agents there, and
what, just about like what comments?
just
or
like
behavior?
inappropriate behavior and touching and stuff like that, and like agents sort of, like just being way too tactile. And I'd see a lot of young girls, for me at 20 and coming from Brixton and being a bartender, I thought I was like way older. Do you know what I mean? Although I wasn't old enough to drink in that city.
Yeah, but also like maybe like can kind of handle certain situations.
Yeah, but probably just more versed in asserting yourself. And I would just see a lot of like younger girls. I'd think, shouldn't they have a chaperone with them? Or, hey man, what's this girl doing here? Shouldn't she have a chaperone? They'll be like, mind your fucking business. You know what I mean? And you're like, oh, okay. So anyway, when I first did the post, just talking about it, it got taken down. It just kept on disappearing. And I was like, wow, this is weird. And I remember chatting to one of my friends, and she mentioned, oh, have you seen what's going on with this guy? And I said, yeah, didn't you see my post? And she went, no. And I thought, wow, it rasped up the algorithms.
Mad.
I did not get not that I'm a big poster anyway. I have someone who does my social media for stand up. But and then when I first put the video up, it got taken down. I don't know.
And you were just talking about it. It wasn't like in.
No, there was no joke. It was me looking
like,
very like
troubling,
freaked out by it, and just talking about like, I was with this agency. These are the things that were going on at the time, and I just want to talk about, like, say something.
And in the bit, like, obviously you talk about being with Jeffrey Epstein, right? Mm-hmm. And in real life, like, how did it transpire? The same way?
No, exactly the same.
Okay.
Oh yeah, man. Look, I think with something like that, it's serious. I'm not trying to embellish it for laughs. Like, I'm gonna make jokes about the facts, and hopefully it will provide some comic relief. But I think a topic like that, and just in general, when I do stand up, I'm not someone who fabricates stuff that much. I might exaggerate the truth a tiny bit, but to be honest, I don't have like fake stories on fake scenarios. It's around, like, it's something, but that particularly I would not mess with the facts as I saw them. Do you know what I mean? There might be someone else who's like, that's not how this happened. I remember something different. It's over 20 years ago. But I definitely wasn't like, how can I beef this up for laughs? Not that subject matter.
Yeah, I hear that. That makes sense as well. Like something that is like potentially, I don't know what the word is I'm looking for, but I understand why you wouldn't want to play with that for entertainment purposes. Yeah,
exactly. And especially as, now understanding the close proximity I had to potentially being in way more danger, I understand that I was around people that really were affected in a more detrimental way.
Yeah, of course. It's interesting what you were saying just now about like the writing, your writing process, and not like maybe embellishing a little bit. Like obviously, like when like, the same way like I'm a rapper in it, so like you write stuff and whatever, and it's like based in truth. But obviously, like you can go off on a tangent sometimes.
Yeah, or you'll put 3 stories together.
Yeah,
do you know what I
exactly.
mean? Like
Yeah.
that's what I'll do. Like I'll be like, oh, this person said this to me, but I might go, this scenario happened, and I'll add that story in with it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I
Yeah,
mean? So
yeah.
it's like 3 events, and I'll make it 1 event.
Okay. And like among comics, because obviously I think a lot of people have a better understanding of like how a lot of rappers feel about like either lying or embellishing or somebody else writing.
Right.
Like, is there like what's the word I'm looking for? Like among comics, is there like an unwritten rules around stuff like that?
No.
No?
Many comics will do whole scenarios. I mean, you can kind of tell when you're watching sets when someone starts saying it's a true story a lot.
Yeah.
Because sometimes you'll watch a set and a comic will go like, this really happened. And you think, wait, what? Didn't everything really happen? What do you mean that really happened?
So when they're saying this really happened, is that because it really happened, or is it because it actually didn't happen at all?
Well, I don't know, but from what I notice of just watching comics, I think when they get into something where they'll be like, no, this is a true story, this really happened, you sort of go, oh, so you embellish a lot of other stuff, which I don't think there's anything wrong with that. You know, you're doing it for laughs.
I kind of assume that with comedy. Like I love stand-up comedy, and I'm not particularly bothered either way. If I laugh, then great, innit?
Yeah.
But I mean, you hear some stuff and it's like it seems super outrageous and outlandish, innit? And then you kind of assume, "Ah, that probably didn't happen." But I mean, it's just, and also some of the funniest stuff is the stuff that is about shit that's actually happening as well.
Yes.
So it's interesting from both sides.
Yes, yeah. So I mean, there isn't. To answer your question, there isn't any unwritten rule. I think people can, say whatever they want.
Yeah.
And if you laugh, especially if I think someone does a really long bit, like I'm a storyteller, I don't really have one-liners. And then there's great one-liner comics. That's just not my shtick.
Yeah.
But I kind of love it when you watch a comic and they do a story that is absurd, right? And it's not true, but it's really thought-provoking.
Yeah.
So I'm like, well, it doesn't matter, does it?
Yeah.
Because it's making you think, it's making
Exactly.
you laugh, and it's surprising.
Yeah.
There's a surprise twist at the end.
Yeah.
So, I think,
I love the thought-provoking stuff, man, and I think it's important because I think like comics can say or convey ideas that a lot of people can't necessarily get away with. And I think some of the things that they are talking about or bringing to the forefront or being super candid about are things that need to be spoken about, but people are scared of.
Yeah.
And obviously there's a lot now where, I don't know, some comics don't give a fuck and they just say whatever. But I know, like, from how I understand it, that some are potentially treading on eggshells because of cancel culture and people having a fucking whinge and all that.
I'll be honest with you, I don't think it's real.
What, cancel culture?
No, I just don't.
I hear you.
I just think, fuck off. Like,
Yeah.
it actually pisses me off because, like, there's certain people that fucking should get cancelled. Do you know what I mean? Just because they're a cunt. Do you know what I'm saying? And, like, what they're putting out into the universe. But I think when we start talking about it, I think it's this thing that's been constructed by people at the top to get us all in a fucking flap about stuff, and then nothing really changes.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, this person's going to get cancelled. Oh, look. And you're like, no, you know what the cancel culture is? Us talking about it.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
That person's career is still going to go from strength to strength.
I mean, there's been a couple people that have been like deplatformed. There's a couple people that have had their music taken down and shit like that. And I think there has been a few cases where it's actually affected people's livelihoods.
Yeah,
Do you
fair.
know what I mean? But then there's some people who people have tried to and it hasn't worked. You know what
Well,
I mean?
I guess I'm broadly speaking.
Yeah.
Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Because you're absolutely right. So I take that back. There are scenarios and instances and examples of people that do get cancelled. But
There's definitely people that have lost jobs and shit like that. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yes.
just from pressure from the public or whatever.
Right. And then there's a lot of people that have done a lot fucking worse
Exactly.
that have tripled their profits.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you know what I mean?
And this is the shit that drives me mad, man, because I see, like, obviously, like, doing what I do, you spend a lot of time online, innit? And there's, like, I honestly believe it's, like, a loud minority that are saying a lot of shit. Like, I think most people don't really give a shit because they're getting on with life, innit? But then there are some people who want to rally around this idea of cancelling someone. You don't even know this person, innit? You don't know how many mouths they've got to feed. You don't know what their life experience is. You don't know what they're dealing with internally, whatever. And they've said one thing that you don't like, and it's like, okay, cool. Let's stop this person from being able to like move through life. And it's just like, not everyone is going to say things that you agree with. And people are going to say things that upset you or things that offend you. But that's how the world should be. Because we can't all just sing from the same hymn sheet and say, okay, I'm never going to say anything that offends anyone. I'm not going to fucking say anything then, am I? Apart from to people who think exactly the same way I do.
Well, this is what's interesting. I feel like black, brown people, queer people, we're well versed in having our feelings hurt.
Right, exactly.
Do you know what I mean?
And this is another reason why I struggle with it, because I'm like, I'm getting upset about some shit.
So when it happens, we're like, okay, well, do you know what I mean? Like, I could probably move on, or you know. And you want there to be space. Like, I'm sure I was saying stuff in the 90s that I would never say now. I would never say now.
This is one of the questions I wanted to ask people, like people who are cancelling people. I said, okay, cool. Do you think your parents or your grandparents have ever said anything racist?
But think, I heard it. Come on.
Exactly. So if the answer is yes, are we doing up cancel culture on Granddad Pete?
Right.
Do you still chat to him? I'm sure you do. I'm sure you're buying Christmas presents. So what are you doing? Like, come on.
Yeah.
I know I've got people that are close to me, people that are older than me in my family that have said absolutely wild shit. Right. I don't agree with it.
Yeah.
But they fucking say it. Do you know what I mean?
I think we're living in a world now where, like, I feel like in many ways the most radical thing we could do on a day-to-day basis is to continue to have relationships with people that you don't agree with.
Thank you.
That's it.
Thank you.
It's all right.
It's important. It's actually important. It's vital.
Right, because then you get in the echo chamber and then you end up being like, I can't believe Trump got in. How? I can't believe Brexit happened. How? Bro. And it's like, I want to be able to, if someone says something that I don't agree with, or that I, like, there's certain comics, I don't like their material. I don't fucking rate it at all. I find it like, just, you know, a little toxic. I'll still chat to them. We do the same job. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? That's not really any of my fucking business what you want to say on stage. Exactly. Will I come and do your show? No, because I don't agree. I'm not aligned with what you're doing. But likewise, I know that I talk about my drug history in my sets a lot, and I use the C word. My sister, if I use the C, my sister's like, don't say, she finds it really offensive. But she's still my sister, we still talk. Exactly. Do you know what I mean? Like,
and the same way that, like, I think it's important that people that we disagree with are allowed to have a voice, because it works in both ways. There's people that disagree with what we're saying.
Yes.
And we wouldn't want our voice to be taken away because someone doesn't disagree with us. Yeah. So if we do disagree with someone, it's important that we still allow them to speak, right?
You know, when I was a kid, I couldn't stand olives. I'll box an olive now.
Same.
You know
I'm into it.
I'll eat an olive.
Some garlic and some olive oil.
I'll eat an olive now. But how would I, if I'd have stayed in a mindset of, I don't like olives? What was it? Do you know what I mean? Not that my life is massively enriched, but, you know, just as just one of them things.
I mean, if you're super hungry and the olives come out and the food ain't there yet.
Yeah, especially if it's free. I'll bang a couple olives. But, you know, you want to be open to suggestion. Your thoughts and your you know, your moral compass, where it is today, is not going to be whatever you think now. It's not going to be there in 10 years.
Exactly. See, that's another great point.
Yeah, it's like, it's going to change. I hope it does. I don't want to be exactly the same 10 years from now. Exactly. Do you know what I mean? There's things that I thought I was like really hard yeses and nos for me, and it turns out I'm here to be, you know, swayed. Right.
And it's important to know that, you know what, in 10 years' time, we need to understand that today we might be wrong.
Yeah.
And to be able to say, do you know what, at that point in time, I really stood on something and I was wrong. Yeah. And that can be potentially about anything. So, I don't know, man. I think people are, I don't know, it's just like people are very forgetful, innit? Like even with COVID and stuff like that, and it's like
I think
all of a sudden
there's a sort of, it feels good to feel righteous, right? And it feels good to feel right, and it feels good to sort of go, I have a clear identity that is aligned in these things. And I also feel like sometimes it's easier to point than to self-reflect, because you can say, oh, what that person said was wrong. Listen, if I think back to some of the shit that I used to say when I was a teenager, and even in my early 20s, like, oh my God, I would never.
And it's a process, isn't it? And everyone has to go through it. And people need to be allowed to go through the process, right? Because if we're not, then what? Like every single mistake, stop. You're a terrible person. You are not allowed to exist anymore. It's like, what are you talking about?
I would like to be forgiven. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or at least know that, like, it's it might be an option.
Yeah. And forgiveness is essential, right? Because like we have to forgive because everyone fucks up. And we also need to be forgiven because everyone fucks up.
Unless you're a dickhead.
Yeah.
In which case...
I hear it. I mean, I suppose there are definitely lines, but at the same time, like no one cuts through life perfectly, ever.
Yeah, exactly.
Ever. In terms of like your writing process, I know we've been jumping about, and I hope you don't mind because this is just how it goes. I'm interested because as a writer myself, but obviously more of lyrics and stuff, and a little bit of narrative maybe. What is the writing process when it comes to writing comedy? Because I'm super interested in it, and especially with like the massive uptick in comedians having podcasts.
Right.
I've had so much more of an insight into that world. And I find it super fascinating because as a performer myself, it's the one thing that I see where people get on a stage without anything, just your voice, and that's it.
Yeah. It's and maybe that's why as a comic I wonder if there's something in that makes you a bit more open to knowing that it's a spectrum, isn't it? Right? So I think of like even stuff that I said early on as jokes that I would never say now, my writing process is generally thinking something's funny, like just having a little nugget. And I'm like at the moment, it's not a joke yet, but everyone's, like my niece, she's only 12 and she wants to go Space and K and drop money that she's not earning on big products, skin products. And to me, that's mad because
I was about to ask you what Space and K is. I was like,
Space and K is like, it's like a high-end beauty store, like where you can buy like face products and stuff like that. Yeah. And all of these, there's been all this stuff in the press at the moment. All these kids are like obsessed with it. And so I'll think about that and I'm like, well, that's kind of funny. And then I think, oh, well, when I was young and her age, I remember being excited that Dove had a quarter moisturiser cream in it. Like, I remember that being big talk. I remember my mum using this thing called, I think it was called apricot, but it was like this exfoliant where you would scrub your face with an apricot pip, bruv. Oh. It was like smashed up. It was like in the thing. It was like this exfoliant.
It was rough.
Yeah.
I remember it. My mum had it.
Exactly.
Yeah,
all mums had it. And it's like, you would wash your face until it squeaks. You would never use that now. So,
really? Is it like damaging? Yeah.
Well, it's so abrasive, right? But my point is like that is not like, that's how I would go about a joke. I'd be like, that's mad. Oh, well, right. I remember thinking Dove was really chic. And then I'm like, do you know what I mean? Yeah. And then I'll just build on it from there. Yeah. And I'll write some stuff and I'll try and squeeze it in while I'm on set, while I'm on stage and doing a set. I'll start with jokes that I know are tried and tested. And then I'll squeeze some new ones in between. And if it gets a laugh, then I'll continue with it. And if it doesn't, I'll move swiftly on to a joke that I know works.
Okay. And this is the part that fascinates me because it's very different, like I say, because I just compare it to like performing music in terms of the development of it. Yeah. Because I feel like you finish a song, and you just go perform it, innit? Like, right. Do you know what I mean? But with jokes, it's like you've got an idea of a joke or the bones of a joke and you try it with a certain crowd and it's like, oh, that bit worked, but that bit didn't.
Process of elimination, and you're constantly doing vibe checks. As you're speaking, you're checking out how the room responds and you're deciding what you're going to do next. You know, I mean, that's when you've got enough material. I've been doing stand-up for long enough that I can go into a room and I can be like, oh, the set that I was going to do, I'm not going to do now because I notice you guys are not responding well to this. So I'm going to continue with, I'm going to try some other stuff. Oh, you guys love that? Right, I'm going to do more of that then. You know, but if it's like a new material night, then you lot can fuck off. You paid £1 to get in, and I'm chatting. But and I'm gonna, do you know what I mean? But if they've paid for, I'm gonna give you your money's worth. That's my job. Your stand-up's weird because you can only get good by being shit. In front of people.
I find it super fascinating, man. And it's like when you were just explaining that to me, it's making me think like it must be nice. Like there must be like a zone there in it where you're sharp. And it's like, I'm firing right now because I felt it go that way and I adjusted. I've got the room back. It's going off.
And you know what's mad? It don't last long before you get really bored of saying that joke. And then you're like, fuck, it's lost its magic because you start, like, it sounds rehearsed.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
So then you can't even deliver it with the same...
Listen, man, I came off tour in March and I was like, I can't tell these jokes anymore.
Any of them?
So my last date of my tour, I did Leicester Square Theatre, sold out, standing ovation, smashed it, hour set.
Come on, standing O.
2 months later, I'm at Latitude Festival, but I'm already writing this TV show, so I was maxed out creatively. Like anything I was thinking, I was writing for this TV show. I go to Latitude. My brother, I knew I was gonna be shit before I even got on. Like I just knew. I don't know what. I was
the same material.
Yeah, and I was only doing a 20-minute set, but I had exhausted that stuff, and I felt like a fraud because I'd said it too many times because I'd just come off a tour, and I wasn't really believing myself, and I should have cancelled the gig, but I had a +1 and my friend was coming and I thought, and I sort of festival and it sort of turned into a bit more of a social thing. And I was like, this ain't going to go well. And I clawed my way through the set.
Really? Did you bomb or?
I mean, you can't, at this point, me bombing's not like, I did fucking bomb. You know what's mad? I was looking up something that someone had asked me for, and so I had to Google myself, and it popped up, and I said, I don't read my reviews. And I had 2.5 stars, and I said, that was ½ a star too much.
My question is...
But you know what I mean? It was like, so like the flip side of that is like, it was... 2 months before, polished, fire, pew, knocking it out the park. Do Latitude, probably a couple thousand people stood up, and I was like, this is dead. And as a collective, they went, you don't look like you believe what you're saying.
Yeah, and it comes through, innit? Yeah, people can tell.
It was dead. It was just dusty.
Is that not a necessary part of the process, though?
Well, yeah. But it's humiliating.
I hear it. But is that like the loop, though?
Well, it forces you to write new stuff.
Yeah.
I was just in a situation at that point where I was like, I'm writing something else that is a bit more time consuming, and I don't have time to try out bits on stage because I'm doing this other thing.
And how do the circuits compare to trying out bits here? And because most of the stuff that I see and consume in terms of podcasts is American stuff, innit? And you hear about like the circuits in New York, the circuits in LA, and how those comedy stores or whatever, people like have regulars. Is it the same here? Because I don't feel like there's the same environment here.
No, it's different, man. Like I'm happy that I started in New York. And I feel like New York you can have more fun doing stand-up, but that's just because you don't get paid as much. Like in New York, you'd find it very hard just to live off doing stand-up comedy alone. Because there's such a big turnover. The quality is good, and it's just not that kind of city. Whereas here, you're getting like you can if you're decent, you can live off stand-up comedy easily, you know. But what comes with that is you're getting paid money to do your gig, and you better not be trying any booky shit while you're on stage.
So it's not as much of a sharpening your skill set arena. It's more of a delivering something that's polished type vibe.
Yeah, and then what you can do is get stuck into it and be like, I'm just going to do my set.
Yeah.
And so you don't take as many risks, I think.
That's interesting. Your tour was called Moved, right?
Yeah.
So how was it? How many dates did you do? Where did you go? Is that your first tour or?
Yeah, it's my first tour. Over all over England. Probably did like 16 or 17 dates. And did like Cardiff and Bristol and Maidenhead and
what did the schedule look like? Was it like back to back?
It was chill. No, it was like, let's say 1 week would be Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. The next week would be Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Then it would be
and
like
each
Thursday,
like weekend would be one city or?
No, different nights in different cities.
Okay.
Yeah, but I mean, yeah. So for me, it was pretty chill. Before this, I've been tour support for Catherine Ryan for a while, and her tours are like massive.
Yeah, bananas.
And so that's a whole different. Like,
I don't know. I've seen a couple of bits and pieces, but I don't know a whole lot about her. She's Canadian, isn't it?
Yeah, she's Canadian. Yeah, man. I mean, I fucking rate her, but also she's been very instrumental in helping me out since I came back. Yeah.
Okay.
Big time.
What came back as in?
Like when I moved back here, I was coming off the back of like, I was a sort of like in the middle of a divorce and I'd sort of napalm my life in a lot of ways. Do you know what I mean? Like I was like, what the fuck, man? I just kind of couldn't believe it. I was like, a few years off 40, I don't have property. I have any money. I've, in the midst of like failed relationships and careers and choices and whatnot, I was on my ass. And I came back and pretty quickly, Catherine casted me to be in a Netflix show. Yeah. And then off the back of that, then things started rolling. Then I signed with her agents, like I signed with United. And then things just started firing like really quickly. But I come back and I was like, I couldn't believe it. I was like, what a life I've lived, and I have anything to show for it. Like I just made a bunch of like a succession of really shit choices. Do you know what I mean? And I was just like,
sometimes that shit's necessary though.
Well,
man.
What do they call it? Ego death, yeah? It was. But like Catherine Ryan, single-handedly, I would say, Catherine Ryan has had more to do with where I am now than any other person.
Okay. So you lot super close?
Not massively.
Okay.
She's just safe.
Yeah. And she rates the thing, obviously.
Yeah.
So.
That's it. Do you know what I mean? Just like a mutual respect.
Yeah. I love that though, man. It's nice that I think I think in certain industries and spaces, to meet genuine people who actually just rate what you're doing.
Yeah.
And just support it just because of that.
Yeah.
It's quite rare, isn't it?
Yeah. And at a time where I was really like not feeling confident and just really doubting myself, and I was really like just feeling like quite like open and vulnerable. And she was just like, shut the fuck up, bitch. What you doing? You're the shit. And I was like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like, yeah, man, she cast me in her show, and then I went on tour
Tell me
with
about
her.
the show, please. Tell me about the show. Was that your first, the Netflix one?
Yeah, that was my first stab at acting. I mean, I'd done acting before in my own short films, but like that was my first time acting.
Because I was talking to my little sister about you because she popped over to my house randomly yesterday, and I was just letting her know what I'm up to and stuff. And she was telling me about one of the shows you was in, but you've been in 2 shows, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know if she's seen the first one.
One was Catherine Ryan's show on Netflix called The Duchess. And then after that, I got cast to be the lead in an HBO show called The Baby. Like, it was kind of mad. Like, I was like, you know, you go from being like, Baroque, and then like, what is it? Is it the back of the end of Trading Places where he like gives...
Oh,
and then they're like, I'm back. I'm back in business, Bruce.
Oh, that's the back up the end of Coming to America, isn't it?
Yes.
But it's the 2 people from Trading Places.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It was literally one of the moments, man. I moved back with like a suitcase and like only like 3 wheels worked on it. You know them ones? And I was like living in my friend's little box room in Plaistow, and I was like buying single cigarettes from the shop, and I was like, how?
I can't remember single cigarettes, boy.
How? I know. Do you know what's mad, right? Because like, when was this Plaistow is just random, innit? But I remember like standing in the shop, and this guy went in and he was like, yeah, boss man. And the guy got a box of cigarettes from underneath the counter, took out one, he slid £1 across, and I was like, I love this area.
Yeah, bro. Trust me. I see someone do it the other day, and it just brought back mad memories. I said, we're still doing that, yeah?
Are we still?
But I mean, the price has gone up, though.
Well, obviously, yeah, of course. But yeah, man, it was just one of them moments where I was like, I'm back. And then so then I did that show, and then I did The Baby for HBO, and then now I've just written a show for BBC that will be out. It's called Spent, and it'll be out probably in like late spring, early summer.
That's lit. That was going to be my next question about writing.
Yeah.
So you've written your own show. Are you in it, or have you?
Yeah. I'm the lead in it and exec producing it and write it.
Amazing. So congratulations, because that's
Thanks.
fucking crazy.
Yeah, it is.
That process, was that the first time that you'd written something like that, or have you written loads of stuff and this is just the one that got built up?
So when I was in LA, literally my life was sort of crumbling a bit, and I was like, I knew that I like creatively had to still be doing something. So I was like painting, and I didn't drink, didn't do any drugs, didn't do anything, because I was like, this ain't the time. Like, the party's over. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
The bouncer's telling you to get out.
It's not going to be a party. It's going to be something different.
Oh, no.
I know that one.
Yeah. I was like, it's time to get fucking serious. And what I started doing is like writing little scenes. I was quite fortunate, as in like just before that, I'd had a situation with another comic who'd asked me to help her write a show. I say help. I ended up writing this woman's show for her, and then she didn't give me a credit, and it just turned into some absolute madness. Yeah, and then she ended up getting nominated for all these awards.
What?
And I was like, at the time,
can you say what it is?
No, it was a stand-up show.
Oh, okay.
It was a stand-up comedy show for Edinburgh, and she ends up doing really well. And I not that I was expecting to get anything for it, because it wouldn't have changed my life in any big way, but it was just an interesting scenario where I got sidelined, and I didn't realize what this person's intention was, which was to basically fucking absorb me creatively for their own ends. And because I didn't rate myself, I didn't put any value on it. So I was like, yeah, sure. And then after, I was really like surprised that she was like, the way she moved after, do you know what I mean? And I also was like, I can't really do anything about this, because, in comedy, whoever says the thing is whoever's the bigger comic is the winner, right?
Whoever's filmed or witnessed saying the line.
Right. And also, in terms with this person in particular, I wrote a show for her. So I could never really have used them jokes anyway. It's about her life. Yeah. But what that did is, as much as it might have been the beginning of me spiraling a bit and then my life kind of unraveling, I was so vexed and mad. But I also was like, when she started getting nominated for these, I said, but that means I can write. And there was a few other comics that were like, gave me good advice about it. And they were like, at the end of the day, it's proof of what you can do. And I was like, I never thought about myself like that, ever. I never thought. In my mind, I thought, if that hadn't have happened the way it did with this particular person, I would have just been happy to write for it. I didn't even think that I should ask for money or a credit. She was like, I'll give you this and that. And I was like, yeah, no, it's cool, we're friends. And it, in many ways, was the fucking best thing that happened, because then I was like, wait, it doesn't matter about that, because for us that are creative, whenever you get something stolen from you or someone takes something without giving you credit, these are ideas. That person doesn't have any ideas, but you can come up with more ideas.
Yeah.
And so that was the beginning of me going, that means I could write. Because I'm dyslexic and I left school without GCSEs or SATs or whatever. I always had a big chip on my shoulder about writing. And then I thought, right, I can write. And so I started writing little scenes. And then that's how I then was like, I'm going to make a short from one of these scenes that I've written, just like a little 5-minute film. And then off the back of that, I'm putting that on Instagram. Then a commissioner was like, what do you want to do with that idea? And I said, I've got other ideas. And I'd already written maybe like, I don't know, a bunch of pilots, probably like 7 decent pilots. And so when that happened, I was able to be like, what do you think about these ideas? And
that's dope.
It is.
That's really dope.
It is, actually.
And one of the things that I was thinking when you were saying that, like, when you had your ideas stolen, essentially.
Do you know what? It wasn't.
Not stolen, sorry, because you agreed to write them for her.
I agreed to write them for her. I was naive, and I just didn't value myself, man.
But I think it's interesting sometimes when we zoom out, innit? Like when you're in a moment, it's hard to do. But like you were saying, your life was unraveling, but actually realizing that what you had written had gone on to be nominated for awards or whatever, even though your life might have been in this place, the zoom out of that is actually what's happening is actually incredible. It might feel like this, but where it's going is dope. But we just can't see it at the moment.
Yeah, because you're in your feelings, and sometimes you want like emotional justice, and there's no court of law for that.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Actually, what is gonna transpire is gonna be way better than that justice.
I'm telling you.
But you just can't see it in that moment, innit?
It's always the way.
Yeah.
Had my life not have hit for me what was a pretty low point, for other people they'd be like whatever. But for me it was like a real low point. I wouldn't be here now, really, or doing what I'm doing now.
Yeah. That's dope. I love that. So writing your show has obviously been commissioned. You said it's coming out.
Yeah.
Tell me about it, please. Like, not necessarily if you don't want to share details about it.
No, it's all
right. That whole process, like, I want to know. This is inspiring.
The show's called Spent, and it's about, it's like loosely based on my own experiences. So it's about a woman who used to model. She's like an aged model, and she's got all these airs and graces, and she comes back to England and she's homeless, and she's trying to pretend she isn't, and she's just not being transparent with people about what her financial situation is. So ultimately it's about like the hangover that you have from deep consumerism.
Okay.
And when you make...
And it's a comedy?
It's a drama comedy. And it's with BBC Two, and also with various artists limited, Val, and I May Destroy You, and they made
Come
Juice.
on, man.
They made Juice, and they made Such Brave Girls, which has just come out as well.
Dope.
So yeah, they're really good, and I couldn't be, happier with the process so far. So right now I'm in the edit. And bruv.
I'm in the edit, cuz.
I'm in the edit, bruv.
Vibes.
Yeah.
It's so funny because when you were saying like sharing stories about your earlier life earlier, I was thinking to myself, you should write a fucking something about your life. You've already done it.
Yeah.
That's dope.
Yeah, and it's funny because a lot of the experiences that I had have now gone into this show.
Yeah.
Yeah. Times when I was like, oh my, and the character is, well, is based on some of the experiences I've had, but it's based on me to a point, but we do different things.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And as you know, when you start to write that person, unlike stand-up, where I want it to be within the realms of truth, with writing a show is, you want to make it fictional, and you don't want it to be you.
But you have to obviously draw from something, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
And they say like everything we write has something of us in it.
Yeah.
But you can expand in it.
Yeah, and it's been really like it's been really cathartic to be like thinking about some crazy experiences that I had while I was in LA, and for a while homeless, really, couch surfing and staying with friends, but I didn't actually have anywhere to live, and I was just being reluctant about coming back because I was like, I can't come back with nothing.
Yeah.
And some of the stupid shit that I did out there in that time is now in this show, and to be on set and see a crew of people laughing about the dumb things that this character's doing, and me know that like, no, that's actually happened. Like, I actually did that shit. You know what I mean?
That's funny.
Yeah, it's been really therapeutic.
I love that, man. I can't wait to see it. That's dope.
You got to come to the screening. I invite you to the screening. Please,
please. When is it?
Yeah. I don't know. It'll be when we finished editing. So probably, just before it comes out.
Okay, dope. Yeah. No. I'll hold you to that.
Yeah,
for sure,
of course.
For sure.
Yeah.
Which process do you prefer? I mean, I know you spent a lot more time, obviously, on the comedy circuit, but as it stands.
This was a different experience because I was writing and then I was acting and then I was also exec producing. So then you get kind of understand the world of budgets. But stand-up is so nice because you're making people laugh.
Yeah.
You get your head out your ass because it's not guaranteed that it's going to go good.
Yeah.
And even when it goes bad, you kind of rate yourself for giving it a whirl anyway.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, of
I would
course.
say stand up for the one-man band of it all. You know what I mean? Because you just go in with a mic. You don't need anyone to do anything.
Yeah.
You just need the mic. And sometimes that don't even fucking work. So I'll probably stand up because it's nice. But then I like the writing process because you can be quite like insular and get in your head. And I found that when I was writing and doing stand up, I think, I was telling you about latitude. I think I found that really hard to go from being in the office all day and writing and then to be really big on stage. I couldn't make that transition.
So it's like maybe like living in one space for a period of time and then living in another space for a period of time is maybe the way to go.
Oh, I 100% as a self-employed creative person have found myself in the last year not managing my time well and stretching myself too thin and creatively exhausting and burning out. And just because I'm used to saying yes, because we don't know when the next job will be.
Exactly.
And so, like at the moment, I'm in the edit, and I thought the edit would be less taxing than filming and writing, and actually that hasn't been the case. And I still have to, I've still got gigs, and I'm like, something's got to give here. I cannot be good at both of these things in a day. Some people can. Catherine Ryan can, because she's a fucking robot. Good for her. But I can't do that. I can't. I get too like morose and like, just dramatic about stuff that isn't, you know what I mean? Someone would be in my way, be like, trying to stop me from achieving my dreams, man. And that's like, is it? Or is it just a guy who's just got in your way up the escalator? You know what I mean?
That's quality. It's a very interesting space, man. Like, going into that world in terms of writing and TV and stuff, and I know you've acted, but exec producing, acting and writing, was it what you expected? Did you enjoy it more? Like,
I felt like at this time in my life, with some of the fuck ups that I've done and with some of the massive opportunities that I've had and fucked it royally in a epic level, like take the pin out the hand grenade and just dash it into your own yard, At this point in my life, I'm ready. Yeah. It's fine. Yeah. It's like the same with like doing live at the Apollo. I was like, when I first started stand-up, I used to get really I'd get crippling stage fright to the point where sometimes I couldn't gig, and I was like, I can't do this because it was just too overwhelming, man. Whereas being the woman I am now, I'm standing on stage, I fucked my life enough times that when I see the dry ice come and I'm like, no, you can fucking do this. You've put in the work, you've done the gigs, and now you can do this. No one is going to care more about this than you. Do you know what I mean? No one's going to be lying in bed thinking you're shit more than you're thinking it. Yeah. And it's fine. Now, go try your best. I can give myself the pep talk that I probably needed when I was younger. So now, in terms of like doing things like that and spinning a few different plates, I can say like it was overwhelming at times, so that might have got in the way of being able to enjoy and be in the moment of all of them things because you're just doing a bit too much. But yeah, I felt like I have been doing a lot of work to get to this point, and I'm going to try my best and try to be calm and not get too carried away into my feelings and understand that everyone's here for me to try and make this happen and everyone's invested. And, you know?
Yeah, no,
Does that
I
make
hear
sense?
it.
I'm sort of waffling a bit.
No, I hear it. And it's like, when I'm listening to what you're saying, I think when we once we've gone through certain things or at least experienced certain emotions or whatever, certain things, and not that they pale in comparison, but it just makes you, and you come through the other side, and this is, I'm just talking about life shit, then when you are presented with things that felt challenging before, you can stop yourself, and then, well, for me anyway, like you find yourself in a similar situation, like whether it's performing or whatever, and the nerves creep back in, but then you're like, hold on, I just did that. Like this feels different now because that's happened. I'm still here.
Yeah.
So this might be a bit daunting or whatever, but it ain't.
Yes.
You got through that one.
Yes. And also the reality is, I do comedy. What am I here for? I'm actually, the job is to try and make people laugh.
Yeah.
Like, it's not that deep. Like, it isn't that deep. Like, do all the things that you can to, like, not mess it up. So, like, you know, I'm filming. I'm not going to be fucking drinking and smoking weed and, you know, fucking doing nonsense because I don't want to waste anyone's time and I don't want to waste my own time. But ultimately, it's a comedy show, innit?
I hear that.
And the same with stand-up. It's like, they're jokes.
When you're performing, because you just mentioned like drinking and smoking and stuff, is there like I know some people do, but what's the, for you anyway, what's the protocol when it comes to like having a drink before a show?
I mean, I might have a drink before the show, maybe, but like I'm not. I mean, like a very small glass of wine, but as a rule, like I would not. Definitely, I'm not trying to. When I first started, do you know what I mean? I did all the fucking mistakes. I remember doing one show and like someone had given me MDMA.
Shut up.
Yeah, and I went expecting to go on, and then they were like, "Oh, can you go on?" And I was like, "Yeah, man." And like, actually, it weren't far from here, and I ended up like telling everyone what had happened.
Yeah.
And then I was like, the front row, I was like, "Oh, can you lot all just give me like a massive hug? Like, if I lied on you lot's laps, like across you lot's laps, would you all just hug me?" Like.
And what, was they down for it?
Yeah, they did, and it was the best
quality.
hug ever. But like, don't.
How did the set go?
Well, I thought it went great, obviously. Do you know what I mean?
That is funny.
But this is like a year into doing stand-up. I would never do that now. I just wouldn't want to waste people's time. Look, sometimes it fucking happens. You know what I mean?
No,
Sometimes you
of
get caught
course,
up and you're chatting to people and you have a drink but for the most part, it's work, innit?
Yeah, I hear that. That's hilarious. That was the last thing I thought you was going to say. That's funny.
Oh,
I can't
God.
imagine trying to perform on Dizzle.
Can you imagine?
No way.
Do you know what? The person who I did that gig with, we still talk about it now because she's a very good comedian. I don't want to blast, although I don't think she would mind. But we joke about it because it was like, yeah. And then she was like, "Oh, yeah, come to the gig." I was like, "Yeah, I'll come to the gig with you." And then she was like, "Would you go on?" And because I was coming up on this, I said, "Yeah." Fam.
Too funny. I love a bit of Dizzle. It's been a while. Not gonna lie.
Well, yeah, just, you know,
You got to pick your moment.
yeah, exactly.
Have you had to stop drinking sparkling water?
I mean,
Do you know what's mad? I
What?
saw that bit from you on sparkling water and sensitive teeth. I hope with my health, my teeth have been sensitive recently.
yeah,
And I've backed off the sparkling water. They're not fucking sensitive no more.
fine. Yeah, it's
It's
wild.
actually a thing.
Yes, it's. Do you know what's fucking mad about that as well? This is the thing about like you don't know what's gonna take off on social media, and I have a guy who does it for me, thank God. But like, bro, currently that's got 5 million views. It came out 5 days ago or like 6 days ago.
Yeah.
How? Jeffrey Epstein's story, I took a year trying to make that right, has probably got like 400,000 views or something. You just can never tell, innit?
It's mad
But
how that goes,
that
innit?
wasn't even a joke. I literally just got on stage and was like, "This happened to me today.
Yeah.
Can you believe
Yeah.
it?" And
Yeah.
I guess, you know, you don't know what I hear. Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I still drink sparkling water.
Yeah.
Not
I mean,
as
I'm
much.
drinking it today, but like I said, I backed off it, and I was like, "Oh, because my teeth were hurting." I'm like, "Why are my teeth hurting?
Right.
My teeth never really hurt like that."
Yeah.
And I realized because I'm not drinking, and I'm trying not to do like fizzy drinks or juice and stuff.
You're more attuned.
I've been battering the sparkling water with a bit of
yeah.
lime in it,
Right.
like as my tasty beverage or whatever.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, now my fucking teeth hurt.
Yeah. No, you can't have nothing.
Just trying to be healthy.
You
and
can't
that,
have
like,
nothing.
That's why that bit proper resonated with me. I was like,
And do you know what? That's probably why it's done as well as it's done, because people are like, "Wait, what?"
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's the thing that I noticed with some of my content as well. It's like there'll be bits like stuff that I spend like half a day editing on the laptop, like in Premiere Pro, like going in, and you post it and nothing. And I jump on TikTok and go, it's like 1 million views, yeah? Safe.
Exactly. You can't, like, you're like, what is the... And the thing is, I think ultimately, I think as soon as you start trying to think about it, and that's probably what it is.
Yeah.
You know, when you're like, whatevs,
Yeah.
people are like, this...
It's relatable, I think, sometimes
And
as well.
also, as a stand-up, there's times where like there's a certain honesty and vulnerability in probably doing something on the fly.
Yeah.
And I notice this with audiences, and that's why I'm saying like bombing with the same material when I felt a certain way about it to, you know, maybe when a few months earlier when I'm on stage and being a bit more vulnerable and open and, you know, and it just does better.
I hear it. Do you do crowd work?
No.
No. Have you ever?
Yeah, now and again, but I'm just not a crowd work person. I don't like to interact with them too much. I'm not, especially when you're dealing with drunk people. I'm like, no, I'm not trying to derail the thing. I've got shit to say. We're going to get through it. If you start chatting through my set, especially if you're a guy, I'll just be like, shut the fuck up.
Yeah, straight.
I'll just grip you up nice and early because we're not doing this.
Yeah.
Nah.
Fair.
Yeah.
Fair. I've always found, so you saying that, like, there's heckling, is that like a thing that happens often?
It does sometimes. It depends. Like, I have certain things that I do when I go on stage. I like to make sure that the mic stand is out of the way. I get the mic in my hands before I address the audience. I don't do any of this clumsy, but hi, and then I'm trying to get the mic. 1 second. I don't. Yeah. So I try and do enough subtle things to not undermine. So by the time I start talking, you know, I make sure I say a confident hello. How is everyone? You know, not sorry, you know. So I don't get that many hecklers. Sometimes I'll get people that are answering to whatever, and if it's funny, great. Sometimes you get a great heckle, and it's but I don't encourage it.
Yeah, fair enough. Because I imagine it can, especially if that's not something that you've necessarily spent time like honing that skill. It could.
I just don't have the mind for it. Some people, like, there's this comic called Russell Hicks. Oh my God, this guy can do 20 minutes of crowd work.
I think I saw him recently.
Yeah, American
online.
guy.
Yeah.
He's
like
fire.
Balding white guy.
He might be balding. Sorry, Russell. He might be, but he's an exceptional crowd work comic. He's really good at it. I'm one of them crowds, even like if I'm hosting, I'll be like this. Oh, so James, where you from? You're like, I'm from Camden. I'm like, cool. Anyway, I don't have anything. I'm just not, you know, it's funny, even like when I'm working with Catherine and like if we're doing something, she'll be like, you know, Michelle, you can just like say what you like. And I'm like, yeah, nah.
I'm going to say what I've written, thank you.
Yeah, and like
I hear it.
Yeah, like I'd say I'm funny in conversation, but I'm not like trying like that.
Yeah.
It's just not my skill set.
I hear it. I want to see you live, man. I need to come to one of your shows for sure.
Come.
Yeah, because
man.
I've watched enough of it, like just online or whatever. But I feel like in London, like the comedy circuit, obviously it's happening, but it's like it's not often that I have a conversation with someone and they're like, I'm going to see comedy. But whenever people do go, they're like, oh my God, that was sick.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think people go to see people that they know.
Well, yeah, and I think now you can consume funny things in a different way. So you can consume funny things with memes. People can get their laughs in ways that they couldn't before.
Yeah.
And so maybe that thirst is being quenched in other ways. I don't know. But I think that's because you don't go and watch comedy.
Yeah,
and if you did, then you would be telling your friends to go and watch the show, and then they'd probably go, oh, you know who I went to go and see? Yeah. It's just because you're not chatting about it.
The times that I have been, like, I've always loved it. Do you know what I'm saying? But I suppose it just hasn't been consistent. But
it's such a, especially if you're not drinking, great night out. Yeah. Because you can go and do something in the nighttime and hang out with your missus or your mister or whoever. And then after, you lot can chat about something that isn't about, like, we need to loosen up why we're drinking and that's got to be the thing. It's like you're sat down for an hour or a few hours, you're watching different comics, and then you talk about the comics. You talk about who you liked, who you didn't, what bits you...
Where's some good spots?
I would highly recommend, my home club is called Top Secret Comedy Club, and it's on, I think it's 170 Drury Lane in Covent Garden. On a Monday, Tuesday and Wednesday, I think it's only £1 to get in. On the weekends, it's a lot more expensive, but they have...
£1, yeah?
£1 to get in.
Safe.
And then suggested donation on your way out. But it's a really good comedy club, and everyone from, like, you know, Dave Chappelle to, I don't know, Mickey Flanagan. Like, everyone goes to this comedy club. Although I've never seen Mickey Flanagan there, so let me take that back. But, like, you'll see Catherine Ryan there. You'll see Chris Rock will turn up there. And you'll see, it's a really good comedy club. And it's always a mixed bill, and they've always been really supportive of me. So I love that comedy club, It's a few of ours, like, home clubs. I know, like, Jamali Maddox goes there loads, Sean Walsh goes there loads, Joanne McNally goes there loads. Like, it's a great comedy club. It's affordable, and also I think it's like the cheapest drinks in the West End bar Weatherspoons.
Safe. Okay. You just mentioned Catherine Ryan again. I just remembered something my sister said yesterday. Was she talking about this Russell Brand stuff? I haven't seen it, but my sister just mentioned something to me yesterday about it. I've just remembered.
Yeah, I think mostly what she said is that she doesn't want to talk about it anymore.
Okay,
Do you know what I mean? And I can understand what she means because she's successful and it's something that she gets asked about a lot. And she's like, what the fuck? Am I not doing other... Do you know what I mean? Am I not doing other stuff?
Okay.
So, yeah. Do you know what's wild, though? So, did your sister used to be a photographer? Or is she a photographer?
Yeah.
So, my cousin is called Denise. Hi, Denise, if she's listening. And as soon as we spoke, she messaged me and goes, oh, I heard that you're doing James's podcast. I said, how the fuck do you just... And she goes, oh, I'm friends with his sister. She was the photographer at my wedding. And then she showed me pictures that your sister had taken of me at my cousin's wedding.
Are you serious?
10, 15 years ago, yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've mentioned it to my sister, obviously. Oh, that's what I was talking about, like, with the circle planner and stuff.
Yeah. Well, so then Denise was telling me that. She was like, oh, yeah, she does this thing, circle planner. It'd be really good for you, actually, Michelle. I said, I know, I'm trying to... And she was like, yeah, she was the photographer at my wedding. I said, no way. And then she sent me the pictures. I was like, oh.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I love that. What's her surname?
Denise Guest. She said that she went to school with... Or
she went
maybe...
to school? Because I went to school. I went to the same school as my sister.
No, maybe you guys... went to like the same school. I don't know, some shit. She was like, yeah, no, they're lovely and blah, 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 blah.
Safe.
Yeah.
Big up, Denise.
Yeah.
Come on. Right, I've got a present for you.
Have you?
I do.
Amazing.
Oh my God, my leg was a
bit dead, innit?
Yeah.
Ooh. Can I open it?
Of course. Oh,
some merch.
Come on.
Big
Big up.
Oh, this is wicked.
That's the OG,
man.
man.
I love it.
That's the OG.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
This is so
You're welcome.
nice.
Thank you for coming on, man. I appreciate
You're
you.
so welcome. This is
appreciate you
great,
lots.
man. Thank you.
Well, big up, man. Well, Have a Good Fucking Day podcast, episode 6. It's been a vibe.
Yeah.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you so much for having me.
love.
It's been a big old waffle. I hope. At one point, I was like, I can feel my mouth getting dry. That level of talking.
But this is the way. I mean, obviously, I'm still learning this. This is like a new craft for me, and I'm slightly still out of my comfort zone or whatever. But I like just having a chat, innit? Like, there's a couple points that I want to like.
Yeah.
If it dips, we fall back on. But
Yeah.
I think it's just supposed to be a conversation, and when people watch it, they feel like they're having a conversation with us.
Yeah, exactly. And just like, I think interviewing, I used to work for Vice for years, like doing documentaries in Vice America. And like interviewing someone it's a skill. Listening in today's world is a skill that not many people use.
I hear that. One of the things I'm trying to stop doing is going, yeah. Because when I listen back to it, I'm like, bruv, you're making a lot of noises, they're talking.
Isn't it?
Yeah. Especially when you've got your headphones in and you're editing. And it's like and then you're going back over it again and you're just hearing. And it's like, and you notice all of the little things that you do, like in your speech pattern.
The isms.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I get that with my videos and like on Instagram, people be like, oh, you say like loads. I'm like, you don't think I know that? Do you think that I'm not aware and I don't hate that more than you? You're wrong. It's horrible when you start to know your isms. But I guess the thing is like, you want that person to know that you're listening.
Exactly.
But if there's another person and they're listening, then
exactly. Yeah, exactly. You don't in conversation. You don't usually have a mic in front of your face, innit? And then you
And it isn't someone who's going to be listening to it later.
Exactly.
So that these are all things that, like, you live and you learn, innit?
This is it.
But it's been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you for coming, man. I
You're
appreciate
so
you.
welcome. Thanks for
We
having
got to do it
me.
again, though. We'll have to do a part 2
Yes.
at some point.
Most
Bow.
Definitely. All right, what time is it?